You're relocating to San Diego, but the more you research online, the more overwhelmed you get. And that's because San Diego isn't one lifestyle. It's a massive county with distinct microclimates, hundreds of communities, and dramatic differences in home prices, housing styles, commute times, and overall lifestyle. And if you choose the wrong area, even the right house can feel like a bad decision. So in this video, I'm going to share 6 filters that will help you narrow the map before you waste a house hunting trip or fall in love with a home in the wrong place. Hey, I'm Jennifer St. Clair, your host of Living in San Diego, and as many of you know, I relocated here from Atlanta 21 years ago. And I remember exactly how confusing San Diego looked to someone who was used to brand new homes and organized subdivisions. When we work with someone relocating here, our first question isn't, which neighborhoods do you like? You haven't even lived here, how would you know? We start by asking, where will you work? How often will you commute? What does your daily life look like? Are you at the beach every weekend? Do you travel frequently? Do you prefer newer construction, more land, less maintenance, or room for 2 dogs and visiting grandkids? Those answers matter because San Diego County covers more than 4,500 square miles, and moving 15 or 20 miles in one direction can change the commute, climate, housing lot size, and what your hard-earned money actually buys. Once we understand where you need to be and how you actually want to live, we can begin by drawing boundaries around that search. The areas that don't support your life start eliminating themselves. So let's walk through the 6 filters that we use to narrow that map. And stay with me through the last one because it's something buyers routinely don't even think about, and no listing photo, virtual tour, or Sunday afternoon showing will reveal it. First filter. Anchor points. We're going to start with anchor points, the points you need or genuinely want to reach regularly. Work is the obvious one. It could also be the airport, healthcare, family, a military base, a favorite golf course, or a hiking trail, or simply the people and places that you feel like will make San Diego home to you. You may prefer a community you rarely need to leave, like Point Loma here. It's a great example. The airport, the harbor, yacht clubs, restaurants, shopping, beaches, healthcare, and downtown are all within a relatively small radius. You can build a remarkably full life here without spending half of it on the freeway. Another example is Carmel Valley. It offers a similarly self-contained lifestyle, particularly if your work and daily life are centered around UTC or Sorrento Valley. Not many areas of San Diego really offer that level of convenience. But sometimes the lifestyle you want requires a very unconventional trade-off. So one of my relocation buyers from the East Coast worked at Naval Air Station, North Island. But he wanted a home where his family could have a garden, chickens, a yard, and parks nearby, on a budget that Central San Diego simply didn't support. They ended up choosing Temecula, which is in Riverside County, a neighboring county, and it's roughly a 60-mile commute and a brutal one by almost anybody's standard. But California allows lane splitting, so he chose to commute by motorcycle rather than spend 2 hours trapped in a car in traffic. And the motorcycle makes that longer commute a trade-off that he was willing to accept. Now, I get you. Most people would have rejected that commute immediately, and he didn't because the home gave his family the land and the lifestyle they wanted, while the motorcycle made the commute tolerable for him. The point isn't that you should make the same trade-off. It's that your anchor points have to be weighed against the life that you're actually moving here to San Diego to create. So don't trust mileage alone. A location that looks reasonably close on the map may become a completely different proposition during weekday traffic. Okay, so test the drive at the time you're actually going to make it, not at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning when everything looks delightfully civilized. A Sunday morning drive tells you almost nothing about your Tuesday commute. This next question is whether your budget can actually buy the life you've pictured there. So filter number 2 is budget. If your anchor points tell us where to look, your lender tells us how far that search can realistically go. And in San Diego, we know the numbers matter, but so does where you invest it. The same $1.5 million can put you in a condo near the coast, an older detached home in a central neighborhood, or a newer and larger home farther inland or farther north. Same number, completely different life. So your budget doesn't simply determine what you can buy, it forces the first major trade-off: location, size, age, or property type, because you probably won't get all four. And this is where the home and your imagination finally have to meet the San Diego market. And that brings us to filter number 3. Does the home you're picturing bear any resemblance to what your budget actually buys here? That's important. And I've seen a lot of people move here from the East Coast, and it's a big one. This is where relocation buyers, especially those coming from newer, more affordable markets, can get a rather rude introduction into San Diego. There is very little large-scale new construction here, and most of what gets built is infill development and newer communities. Typically, they trade larger lots for smaller, much smaller patio-size outdoor spaces. They're not even yards. You might have room for a couple of chairs, a barbecue, and a potted lemon tree, but not a game of catch with the grandkids. San Diego's housing can be older, space can be tighter, and funky neighborhood transitions can happen much faster than an out-of-state buyer expects. Trust me, I'm still surprised at the variety in San Diego after 21 years. So you have to decide which compromises are acceptable before the charm of the house makes that decision for you. A buyer who's used to large lots may need that come to Jesus time to figure out what they're willing to flex. People who want low maintenance living have more flexibility because condos, townhomes, and planned communities open up different parts of the county, and there really are more options there. The bottom line is goal alignment. If you tell us your dream home is a 2,500 square foot detached home in Carlsbad for under $1.5 million, I'm going to shake my head sadly. That's a unicorn. Something will have to flex: the size, the condition, the location, or the budget. And if you want brand new construction, a traditional subdivision feel, and a large yard in central San Diego, that combination essentially doesn't exist. We see too many buyers begin with a neighborhood name like Encinitas and then try to force their housing search to cooperate. Flip that order. First, decide what the property actually has to do for you and your family, and then my team will identify which parts of San Diego can realistically deliver that home, the lifestyle, in your budget. Because you may arrive convinced you belong in Carlsbad and discover that your soul prefers Encinitas. But the house isn't the only thing that changes as you move around San Diego. The weather does too, and dramatically. That brings us to our 4th filter. What kind of climate actually makes you happy? Don't just assume all of San Diego has this good weather. It definitely doesn't. Ask what kind of weather will help you enjoy the home you're investing in. Because closer to the coast here, you get much, much cooler temperatures, lots more marine layer influence, and more of our famous May gray, June gloom days. If you move inland only 1 to 4 miles, you'll usually find more sunshine, but considerably warmer summers. Travel even further east, and you'll think you've hit Arizona. Summers become an entirely different animal, and one you may not like. And that difference affects more than whether you prefer sweaters or shorts. It affects your air conditioning and energy use, your landscaping, pool use, outdoor furniture, and whether the beautiful backyard you paid for is actually comfortable when you want to use it. Some people would gladly trade 10 degrees for coastal cloud cover. Others cannot stand spending this type of money to wake up under days upon days of gray skies, and they want to swim in their pool. Now, neither one is wrong, but you should know the difference ahead of time. Not all of San Diego County weather is moderate. We have blazing hot deserts like Borrego Springs and snow in the winter on Mount Laguna. And that's different than Florida, where it's as miserable coastal as it is inland in the summer. You just have the Gulf or the Atlantic to cool off on there. And remember, you're not just choosing a house, you're choosing the climate you're going to wake up in every day, and your hiking and your golfing and your surfing hinges upon that weather. But climate isn't the entire decision. The next question is whether that community will still support your life 5, 10, or 15 years from now. So, long-term lifestyle fit, this is the one people tend to rush because the early part of relocating is so emotional and exciting. Everything feels possible when you're still imagining the move till the moving boxes are gone and then your real life begins living in San Diego. Will this location still work if your job in San Diego changes? Could the home accommodate your visiting family? Does the area support the way you want to age? travel, work, relax, or build community, a good relocation decision gives you long-term lifestyle fit. And that matters even more for buyers that are moving in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, or even beyond that. And many of them are looking for that forever home, and not everyone also has the same timeline. A military buyer may receive new orders in 3 years. A first-time buyer may be choosing a stepping stone house, whereas a retiree, they may want the last home they ever buy. A second home buyer may be considering personal use, rental restrictions, carrying costs, and potential resale. A 3-year home and a forever home should not be chosen using the same strategy. So ask whether this home supports the life you're moving toward and how long you need it to do that job. If you're unsure, call or text my team. We'll help you choose a home and an area that works for this chapter without creating an expensive problem in the next chapter. And even if every filter lines up, there's one final thing buyers often discover before it's too late, because listing photos can't reveal it. And in one carefully timed showing, you can completely miss it. That brings us to filter number 6, density tolerance and noise tolerance. This isn't even close to the same as commute. Density is how many housing units are packed into an area and what that's actually going to feel like when you live there. Some people like all of that energy, and they want easy access to shops and restaurants, services, and activity that's like really close nearby. But with that comes almost every square inch of usable space being occupied or something new being built there if it's not already there. It's active, it's urban, and other people move to San Diego hoping for quiet streets, more breathing room, easier parking, and a slower pace at home. Central neighborhoods such as North Park, South Park, and Hillcrest may feel convenient and active, while more suburban areas such as Del Cerro or Santee are much calmer and more residential. Parts of North County, South Bay, and East County, they offer different versions of space, convenience, and pace, often with a lot larger lots, less infill development, and considerably lower density than Central San Diego has. If you love activity, peaceful may feel isolated. If you need quiet, exciting can become exhausting. The wrong density level can make your day-to-day living miserable. And how do I know? Because this one's personal to me. The wrong noise level did not just annoy me, it eventually forced me to move. Because I lived in Crown Point, I had this wonderful, quiet 2-bedroom bungalow, and there was a huge, large house next to me that was owner-occupied. But within about a year, he moved in with his girlfriend, and he decided to Airbnb this huge home to large parties. And the noise level literally destroyed any peace and quiet I had. And it was during COVID, so there wasn't any place to go to get away from that level of activity. I was very unhappy. I literally had to move away. I can't do with constant stimulation. I need quiet. So when you're there, listen. Don't just look around. Aircraft, trains, freeway noise, nightlife, school traffic, and busy roads can affect homes that photograph beautifully online. When you're there, stand outside, sit in the backyard. Return in another hour and another day, because you can renovate a kitchen, but you cannot renovate the sound around the property. As my illustration shows, even when you do due diligence, things can change. You can only control so much. So ask yourself how much activity you actually want around you. That question is far more useful than asking whether an area is popular, because popularity does not tell you whether the environment fits your nervous system. Now that you know the 6 filters, let me show you how they can begin separating San Diego County into workable zones that apply that to the county in a practical way. I'm not going to rank areas. You guys can watch some of my other videos for that information. Instead, let's think of San Diego County in 5 working zones. And note, this is where North County becomes almost useless as a search term. Coastal North County and inland North County differ dramatically in price, climate, housing style, commute patterns, and atmosphere. Think oceanside, coastal versus Escondido way inland. You need to know which version suits you. Now, Central San Diego often appeals to people who want access. The restaurants, airport events, medical facilities, and shorter drives around multiple parts of the county. Think, Point Loma, Mission Valley, North Park, University City. The trade-off is that some buyers may need to adjust expectations around space, noise, parking, or property style, depending upon the neighborhood. Coastal North County, Oceanside, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach offer a cooler, more marine-influenced lifestyle, but pricing and housing options change dramatically as you move from one coastal community to the next. It may fit if the coastal climate is worth paying for, but it can fall apart quickly if your daily anchor points are farther south. So pay attention. Inland North County, San Marcos, Vista, Escondido, Rancho Bernardo can offer more space and a different value equation with a warmer, sunnier climate than the coast, just a few miles away. So this is where you will often get more space, newer housing, or more yard. But we should test both the heat and the commute before congratulating yourself on the value. Because trust me, they can be a big deal. Now, South Bay, Chula Vista, Bonita, Imperial Beach has become more important for relocation buyers because it offers a different mix of price points, growth, newer communities, and in some pockets, access to both central San Diego and the border region. East Chula Vista provides newer master plan communities, while West Chula Vista, Bonita, and Imperial Beach generally offer older housing and lifestyle experiences. East County, La Mesa, El Cajon, Santee, and Lakeside often enter the conversation when buyers want more space, warmer conditions, views, or just a different value equation. Because you do get more house for your money out there. The value can look compelling online when you're shopping those areas, but trust me, if you dislike sustained summer heat or regularly need north coastal access, that trade-off may get old very fast. Value only matters if you still like living there. So, how do you turn this into a short list before you ever get on a plane? Here's a simple exercise I want you to do before planning a house hunting trip. Now, take out a blank page of paper and write down your top 3 anchor points. Go ahead, you can pause this video and come back. Next, write down what your budget actually has to accomplish. Not just the number, but the job you need it to do. For example, your non-negotiables might be a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot home with a yard for the kids and a community pool in a good school district no more than 20 minutes from work. After that, list the home features that would make the move feel worth it. For example, the primary bedroom's on the main floor, or you have a chef's kitchen, or solar panels, or a 3-car garage, room to park your RV. Next, decide whether you want energy, quiet, or something in the middle. And then be honest about the climate you enjoy most. You don't mind 98-degree summers, or you prefer cooler coastal weather at 65. Lastly, ask whether each area you are considering still makes sense 5 years from now, if that's your hold timeline. If an area fails even one true non-negotiable, remove it. If it only requires compromises, then we can decide how many you're willing to make. A non-negotiable and a preference are truly not the same thing, and confusing them is how you can end up either paralyzed or disappointed. By the time you arrive here in San Diego to look at homes, we will not be touring random homes from Oceanside to Chula Vista. We're going to be touring 2 or 3 tightly chosen areas that you have matched against the filters. Your visit here then becomes confirmation of the short list. We're not going to waste time starting from scratch. There is one more thing that I want you to watch for. Sometimes an area stays on your list because you like the idea of it, not because it really fits your life. Our goal isn't to search all 4,500 miles of San Diego. It's to identify the best 2 or 3 areas that belong on your list. So if you're relocating to San Diego and your list still stretches from one end of the county to the other, reach out now before you book a house hunting trip. My team and I will help you narrow that map quickly. Our contact information is below. You can call or text us or download the free relocation guide here or here. And it's really in your best interest, trust me, to reach out at a minimum 6 months to 1 year in advance. This will vastly reduce the stress of moving to San Diego. So now for our question of the day, note in the comments, what areas of San Diego do you most prefer? I may use some of your ideas for an upcoming video. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Every move has a map. Let's find yours. Meanwhile, stay sunny, San Diego.